Have you ever felt your brain overheating even when you've done absolutely nothing? Have you spent hours analyzing a decision from every conceivable angle, replaying conversations that haven't happened yet, mapping out contingency plans for scenarios that will never occur, only to find yourself still frozen, unable to pull the trigger? If so, know that you are not alone. But you also need to know this is not wisdom. It's a trap, a cognitive prison so elegant that it disguises itself as careful thinking. But it's not. Maybe you believe you're being thorough. Maybe you've convinced yourself that considering all variables makes you smarter than those impulsive people who just act. Here's the truth, you're not being smart. You're being afraid. Look at the image, the man with his brain literally exposed, crackling with electrical energy. That's not someone thinking their way to clarity. That's someone burning alive in their own mental activity. All that power producing zero forward movement. The exhaustion you feel isn't from working hard. It's from running full speed on a treadmill. This story will confront you with the brutal biological reality of what's happening inside your skull. It will expose the lies your fear tells you and reveal why the thinking pattern you believe protects you is actually your cage. Daniel Kahneman won the Nobel Prize for discovering something that should terrify every overthinker. You don't have one brain making decisions. You have two competing systems at war inside your skull, and if you're reading this, the wrong one is winning. System 1 is your evolutionary inheritance, forged over millions of years of survival. It's fast, automatic, intuitive. This is the system that makes you jerk your hand away from a hot stove before you consciously register pain. It's what lets you recognize your best friend's face in a crowded airport in half a second. It's the gut feeling that tells you someone is lying even when their words sound convincing. System 1 operates below conscious awareness, running quietly in the background, using minimal energy. It's been keeping humans alive since we were dodging predators on the savannah. Then there's System 2. This is your analytical override, your conscious reasoning engine. Slow, deliberate, logical. This is what you use for complex calculations, careful planning, situations that genuinely require conscious reasoning, like filing your taxes, learning a new language, or navigating an unfamiliar city. System 2 is metabolically expensive. It draws heavily on your brain's glucose and oxygen supply. It's powerful, but it was never meant to run constantly. Here's your problem. You've trained System 2 to hijack decisions that System 1 could handle in its sleep. Should you send that text? System 1 knows the answer in 2 seconds. It scans tone, context, relationship history, and delivers a clear signal. But you don't trust it. So you fire up System 2, which proceeds to agonize for 2 hours, generating elaborate scenarios about how the message might be received, what they'll think of you, whether the word choice is perfect, if the timing is right. You end up not sending it at all, or sending it so late that the moment has passed. Which restaurant should you choose for dinner? System 1 scans your current mood, energy level, and cravings, then picks one. Done. But you override it. System 2 reads 47 reviews, compares menus, calculates nutritional content, checks distance, analyzes price points, reads the same reviews again. 3 hours later, you're eating crackers at home because you couldn't decide. The reservation window closed. Your friends gave up waiting. Your hunger turned into a headache. You're bringing a supercomputer to a coin flip, and the effort is killing you. Every time you force System 2 to handle what System 1 was designed for, you burn through your limited cognitive resources. You drain the battery on decisions that should cost you nothing. And because System 2 is slow and methodical, it doesn't just answer the question. It generates new questions, new variables to consider, new reasons to hesitate. This is the war. System 1 whispers, "I know the answer." System 2 shouts back, "But what if you're wrong? What if we missed something? What if there's a better option we haven't considered?" And you, caught in the middle, mistake System 2's noise for wisdom. You think the one making you hesitate is the one keeping you safe. You're wrong. It's the one keeping you stuck. Here's what they don't tell you about overthinking. It has a biological price tag, and you're paying it every single day. Psychologist Roy Baumeister discovered something called ego depletion, the phenomenon that willpower and decision-making draw from the same limited pool of mental resources. Think of your brain as having a daily cognitive budget, a finite amount of decision-making fuel. Every choice you agonize over, every option you painstakingly weigh, every scenario you mentally simulate, it all depletes this budget. By the time you've spent 3 hours this morning deciding what to wear, analyzing whether your outfit sends the right message, you've already burned through the mental fuel you needed for actual important decisions later in the day. This is why you wake up exhausted despite sleeping 8 hours. Your body rested, but your mind never stopped running its simulations. This is why a day spent thinking about your problems feels infinitely more draining than a day spent actually solving them. Your brain is running a marathon in place. It's burning massive amounts of energy without covering any distance, generating heat without producing light, creating exhaustion without creating progress. Look again at the man in the image, his brain exposed and crackling with electrical energy. That's not the picture of power. That's the picture of a system overheating itself. All those lightning bolts firing in every direction, all that energy trapped in a closed loop with nowhere to go. The electricity isn't powering anything. It's just consuming him from the inside out. That's your overthinking in visual form, spectacular to witness, devastating to experience, and ultimately producing nothing but depletion. Meanwhile, people with half your intelligence are making decent decisions quickly and moving on with their lives. They choose the restaurant in 30 seconds. They send the text without a second thought. They pick an outfit and walk out the door. And here's what kills you: their decisions aren't meaningfully worse than the ones you'd make after 3 hours of analysis. They're just faster. These people aren't smarter than you. They're not luckier. They haven't discovered some secret decision-making algorithm you're missing. They've simply never confused motion with progress the way you have. They conserve their mental energy for execution rather than deliberation. While you're still researching the perfect approach, they're already on their third iteration, learning from real feedback instead of imaginary scenarios. While you're depleting your cognitive budget on trivial choices, they're saving theirs for moments that actually matter. They understand something you've forgotten. Most decisions are reversible, most mistakes are fixable, and most of what you're agonizing over will be completely irrelevant in 6 months. Your caution isn't protecting you. It's bankrupting you. Every hour spent in analysis is an hour not spent in action, and every decision delayed is energy wasted. The biology is simple and brutal. Your brain has limits. Push System 2 beyond its capacity, and it doesn't just get tired, it shuts down. Decision fatigue isn't a metaphor. It's a measurable depletion of your brain's glucose levels, a literal draining of the fuel that powers your willpower and judgment. You're not being careful. You're being wasteful. And the cost isn't just the decisions you're not making. It's the life you're not living while you're busy calculating the perfect way to live it. Your overthinking habit wears a respectable mask. It doesn't introduce itself as fear or cowardice. It calls itself prudence, diligence, responsibility. It whispers that careful people think before they act, that wise people consider all angles, that mature adults don't make impulsive decisions. These are beautiful lies, and you've believed them because they sound so much nobler than the truth. They let you feel virtuous about your paralysis, sophisticated about your stagnation. But strip away the elegant language and you're left with something simpler and more humbling. You're afraid. You're afraid of being wrong, of looking foolish, of making a choice you'll regret, of discovering that you're not as competent as you thought. So your mind, desperate to protect you from these feelings, offers you a bargain. Stay here with me. Keep analyzing. As long as we're still thinking, we can't fail. As long as we're still researching, we're still making progress. As long as we haven't decided, we haven't made a mistake. It's a devil's deal, and you've signed it in blood. Analysis becomes your hiding place, your way to feel productive while avoiding risk, your method of staying in motion without ever moving forward. Kahneman's research on cognitive biases reveals exactly how your brain sabotages you. Confirmation bias means you'll unconsciously seek out and emphasize evidence that supports whatever fear is already present. Worried the job change won't work? You'll find 17 articles about people who regret career moves and ignore the hundreds who don't. Loss aversion makes potential negative outcomes loom psychologically larger than equivalent positive ones. The pain of losing $500 feels more intense than the pleasure of gaining $500, so you overweight the risks and underweight the rewards. And the planning fallacy convinces you that just a little more research, just one more conversation, just another week of consideration will finally give you the clarity you seek, even though the last 40 hours of research didn't bring clarity, and neither will the next 40. Your brain actively conspires to keep you stuck because stuck feels safer than exposed. Movement means vulnerability. Action means the possibility of failure. And failure, your brain has decided, is the ultimate threat. So it keeps you spinning, analyzing, reconsidering, generating new variables to worry about just when you thought you'd finally covered everything. Look at the man with the exposed brain one more time. He's not thinking his way to safety. He's thinking his way to paralysis. Every neural pathway firing, every synapse crackling with activity, and it's producing nothing but heat. The energy surrounding him isn't power, it's panic, dressed up as careful consideration. It's fear wearing the mask of wisdom. It's paralysis masquerading as patience. You tell yourself you're being responsible. You're actually being ruled by terror. You tell yourself you're gathering information. You're actually gathering excuses. You tell yourself you're not ready yet. You're actually never planning to be ready because ready would mean facing the thing you're afraid of, and your entire overthinking apparatus has been engineered to ensure that never happens. The beautiful lies work because they're beautiful, but they're still lies. And every day you believe them is another day fear wins. You cannot think your way out of overthinking. That's like trying to dig your way out of a hole. The same mental process that got you trapped cannot be the one that sets you free. You need different tools, tools designed not for perfect decisions but for sufficient ones. Here's your arsenal. The October 10th 10 rule. When facing a decision, force perspective by asking yourself 3 questions. How will I feel about this in 10 minutes? In 10 months? In 10 years? This simple framework exposes how much of your mental energy goes toward things that won't matter. That text you've been agonizing over for 2 hours? In 10 months, you won't even remember sending it. The restaurant choice that's consuming your evening? In 10 years, it will be completely invisible. Most of what you're torturing yourself over will be irrelevant by next season. Act accordingly. The information cutoff. Before you start researching a decision, decide in advance how much information is enough. Not perfect information, enough information. Will you compare 3 options or 5? Read 10 reviews or 20? Seek 2 expert opinions or 6? Set the boundary before you begin, or you'll never stop seeking just one more data point. Your brain will always find another variable to consider, another angle to explore, another source to consult. Decide what enough looks like, hit that threshold, then decide. Period. The pre-mortem. Instead of letting your mind spiral through endless what-if scenarios, flip the exercise. Imagine the decision has already been made and it failed. Now ask, why did it fail? What specifically went wrong? This single question often surfaces the 1 or 2 genuinely important concerns buried under 17 irrelevant ones. You'll discover that most of your worries are noise and only a handful actually matter. Address those specific risks with concrete mitigation strategies, then move. The intuition check. Your system 1 already knows the answer. Stop pretending it doesn't. Ask yourself, if I had to decide right now with a gun to my head, what would I choose? That answer, the one that appears in the first 3 seconds, is usually correct. It's drawing on pattern recognition, accumulated experience, and evolutionary wisdom you can't consciously access. The hesitation isn't because you don't know. It's because you're afraid of knowing, afraid of being responsible for the choice. Your gut has already spoken. The question is whether you'll listen. The action minimum. Stop trying to figure out the entire path before taking the first step. Commit to the smallest possible next move. Not the whole journey, just what's immediately in front of you. Can't decide on a career change? Don't plan the entire transition. Schedule one informational interview. Can't commit to a relationship? Don't map out the next 5 years. Plan one honest conversation. Can't choose a creative project? Don't design the masterpiece. Create one rough draft. Movement creates clarity that thinking never will. Action generates the feedback data your brain actually needs to make better decisions. These aren't complicated strategies. They're circuit breakers, designed to interrupt the loop before it traps you. Use them. Your brain will resist because resistance is what it does best. Use them anyway. Here's the final secret they don't teach you. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after. You've been waiting to feel certain before you move, but you've got the equation backwards. The entrepreneur didn't feel confident before starting the business. They feel confident now because they survived starting it. The artist didn't overcome self-doubt before creating. They create despite doubt, and competence emerges from repetition. The speaker wasn't calm before their first presentation. They're calm now because they've done 50 of them. You are waiting for a feeling that only arrives through doing the thing you're afraid to do. This is the ultimate trap of overthinking, mistaking the absence of fear for the presence of readiness. You think courage means not being scared. It doesn't. Courage means moving while scared. You will never feel ready. The electrical storm in your brain will never calm itself through more thinking. It calms through discharge, through converting all that trapped mental energy into actual movement in the world. The transformation you're seeking isn't from confused to certain. It's from spectator to participant, from someone who thinks about life to someone who lives it. The man with the exposed brain doesn't need to quiet his thoughts. He needs to close the loop, to take the energy crackling inside him and ground it in reality through action. One decision, one step, one moment where he chooses direction over perfection. You are not broken because you overthink. You're just stuck in the wrong mode. System 2 is a beautiful tool when you need it. For genuine complexity, for high-stakes irreversible decisions, for learning new skills. But for most of life's decisions, System 1 already knows the answer. It's been calculating probabilities, reading patterns, and integrating information while you weren't looking. Trust it. Learn from the feedback. Adjust. Move again. This is how humans actually learn, through iteration, not contemplation. The only way to fail is to keep standing still, convinced that enough thinking will eventually eliminate the need for courage. It won't. All the analysis in the world cannot make the scary thing not scary. It can only make you more exhausted when you finally face it. There's a decision you've been avoiding. You know what it is. It appeared in your mind the moment you read that sentence. Maybe it appeared 3 sentences ago. You've been researching it, analyzing it, discussing it with friends, journaling about it, making lists of pros and cons. And here's what you already know but haven't admitted. You already know what you need to do. The answer is sitting there in your System 1, waiting for you to stop ignoring it. So here's your closing challenge. What if you gave yourself 24 hours to execute instead of another 24 hours to deliberate? What if the breakthrough you're seeking is on the other side of the decision, not before it? What if clarity comes from movement, not from meditation? Name the decision right now. Set the deadline. The next. Your brain will produce 10,000 reasons to wait. It will generate new variables to consider, new research to conduct, new people to consult. That's just the electricity crackling. That's just System 2 doing what it's been trained to do, protect you from the discomfort of uncertainty by keeping you trapped in analysis. Let it crackle. Move anyway. The cage isn't made of circumstances. It's made of thoughts. And you've been holding the key the entire time. If this resonated with you, you are probably not here by accident. Kindly subscribe. This channel is for people choosing clarity over chaos.